Take me to the King. I don't have much to bring. My heart is torn in pieces. It's my offering. Take me to the King. Truth is I'm tired.
Because all of it points toward him. How many of you were here last week? Let me just see a show of hands. Okay, very good, very good. Last week, God did something mysterious and wonderful. He took what I imagined was the last sermon in a series called Knowing the Right Time to Make a Major Move, and transformed it into the beginning of a new series I call Amazing Things. A series that has its beginnings in the promise God made to Israel through his servant Joshua. In fact, he said to Joshua to give instructions to the Israelites and tell them this. You'll find it in Joshua chapter 3, verse 5. Consecrate yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do amazing things among you. What a word. Consecrate yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do amazing things among you. Now, I asked how many were here last week. I need to ask one more question. How many of you are interested in just having God do some amazing things for you? Okay, how many of you know that God has already started doing some amazing things for you? It is awesome to know that God not only offers amazing things, making ways out of no ways, but it's consoling to know that he promises to do amazing things. And I cannot think of a better time to talk about amazing things than this Lenten period, this 46 days technically, but 40 days absent weekends that prepare us for the Easter celebration, the resurrection moment. Because Lenten is all about consecration. And according to Joshua chapter 5, consecration is prerequisite for amazing things. Let me ask one more time. Who wants amazing things now? All right. Funny thing about the word consecration. It is, Lonnie, it's kind of an intimidating word. Because even if you don't know how to define consecration, it's just one of those words that sounds like it's demanding a lot. Even if you don't know that consecration means to set yourself wholly apart for the exclusive use and service of God, even if you don't know any of that, there's something about the sound of that word, consecration. It just sounds heavy. And so we are often a little intimidated by the very word, consecration. But let me reassure you, brothers and sisters, this morning. We cannot afford to run away from the word consecration. Yeah, consecration is one of those words that, like holiness, sounds like it's just demanding and that it wants more from us than we can give. But let me console you. Let me tell you that consecration is not as heavy as it seems. In fact, it is as if Jesus himself was addressing this anxiety when he said, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." He said, "Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, because my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Listen, consecration is not intended to bring you down. It is not intended to cause you to buckle. In fact, listen to this. Consecration does not demand that you become someone other than who you are. Consecration does not demand that you become somebody else. It only invites you to become who you truly are by divine design. I don't know if I can say that again. It came out so nicely. I don't know if I can say it again. But consecration, fear it not. It's not asking you to be somebody else. It's asking to be who God has ordained, designed for you to be. It is for you to come into your authentic self. Oh, I wish I had some interested people today. If you want amazing things, you're going to have to hear. You're going to have to hear this. Joshua says to Israel, consecrate yourselves. This is Joshua chapter 3, verse 5. Consecrate yourselves, because tomorrow you will see amazing things. God will do amazing things among you. What's interesting about what Joshua says to Israel in the 3rd chapter, verse 5, is how different it is from what God told Moses. In fact, if you go to Exodus chapter 13 and verse 1, we'll see there consecration again. I'm reading from the New King James Version. Then the Lord said to Moses, saying, verse 2, consecrate to me all the firstborn, whatever opens the womb among the children of Israel, both of man and beast, it is mine. Now hurry to chapter 19, verse 10. And this is even more directly in contrast to what Joshua tells the children of Israel. Then the Lord said to Moses, go to the people and consecrate them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes. The difference is that where God tells Moses to go consecrate the people, God tells Joshua to tell the people to consecrate themselves. Moses, you go consecrate. Joshua, tell the people, consecrate themselves. Well, what's the difference between Exodus and Joshua? The difference is that by the time Joshua gives instructions to the children of Israel, Moses is dead. And where Moses consecrates the children of Israel just 2 months, 3 months out from Egypt, by the time Joshua gives them instructions, they have been wandering the wilderness for 40 years. Okay. The difference is time and the opportunity for maturity. 40 years later, Israel ought to be able to do some things for themselves that they had relied so heavily on Moses to do by himself. It is a sad commentary if after all this time we can't do more for ourselves today than when we came to faith. I'll say it again. After this long, come on, be honest, be real. Some things you ought to be able to do now for yourself. Things that you have relied so long on others for. Moses won't always be around. Then what? God tells Joshua to instruct the children of Israel. There they are on the verge of entering the promised land. It is 40 years later, and he says to tell them to consecrate themselves, and then they will see some amazing things. So part of the achievement of amazing things depends on you. Yeah, God will do some wonderful and some amazing things. He's promised it, and you can take that to the bank, but it depends on you and your will to finally consecrate yourself, to set yourself apart. Listen, after this much time, there are two things that we all ought to have consecrated better by now. There are two things that after this much time in the faith, we should have consecrated better by now. Now, of course, we should have consecrated ourselves. That goes without saying. But the two things that we should by now have learned to consecrate better are our time and our money. Listen, I didn't come to beat you up. I came to help you today. I came to help you. Last week I talked a bit about consecrating time, right? How is it that we've gotten so busy to be too busy to spend quality time with God? And then there is a formal part of our celebration, Sunday celebration, that is also available for you to spend some quality time with God. How did we get too busy to spend good, undistracted time in direct communion with God? How did we get so busy that we have not even consecrated a few minutes on a regular basis, daily, to be in conversation and communion with God? We all say we want amazing things to happen, but consecration is the invitation for God to do amazing things. Since I talked last week about consecrating time and how sad and tragic it is that we have gotten too busy for God, even though we're spending hours on the internet. Not even doing anything in particular. And some who are doing some things in particular ought to leave those sites anyway.